student. I'm Dr. Smita Patil. I teach in Department of Gender and Development Studies. Today I'm going to discuss about this topic, debates on the nature of the state, part 2. In which the aims and objective of this lecture is to understand the nature of the capitalist state, to critically engage with the debates on the advanced capitalist state. So let me briefly explain the definition of the state, which many political theories argued about before we get into the capitalist state. The term state means polis or a city state in ancient Greek. Aristotle analyzed the factors that resulted in the formation of the city state. According to Aristotle, state is a kind of community as a group of parts having some duties in common as well as constitution. According to Boudin, and I quote, a state is an association of the families and their positions governed by the supreme power and by the reason, unquote. Now, Machiavelli, one of the very important figure, referred to the state as last though and domination, and he argued that the state, contractualist such as Hobbes, Locke and Rousseau described state as a result of the contract between the government and the people. State of nature for Hobbes was, and I quote from Hobbes' work, that's solitary, poor, nasty, brutish, and so on, unquote. Therefore, and I quote again, people wrested powers in all powerful sovereign through the contract, unquote. So it is also analyzed that, and I quote Locke's quotation, Locke's formulation was moderate as the people had power to resist if the sovereign misuses of the power granted him through contract, and it was aimed for forging a general will, unquote. Now, one of the very significant contribution which is done by Max Weber, a sociologist, who analyzed that, and I quote, a compulsory political organization with continuous operation will be called a state so far as its administrative staff successfully upholds the claim to monopoly of the legitimized use of the physical force in the enforcement of its order. Now, let me try to explain what capitalist state means. The pluralistic view of the state is grounded in the understanding that government has a work according to the interest of the people. However, it may function in the opposite manner. Impact in the context of the practice may be different. There is a collective take on the law by the people. It returns to the antiquity and divine law determine the interlinkages between individuals, the people who shape the government and ways of the governance, etc. Due to the advent of the capitalism, divine law was questioned and it impacted the old societal structure by the 16th and the 17th century, and one can always go and look at this debate of the Enlightenment also. The debate between the state Christian religion and the sovereign during that time to the further deeply engage into this debate. So development of the political ideas by the Hobbes and Locke needs to be understood in this historical background. It led to the theory of the liberal state based on individual rights, and the state takes care of the common good. Now, according to Joseph Schumpeter, common good hardly exists and it is relative in the case of the individuals. Schumpeter critiqued the classical and liberal understanding. It is further argued the idea of the common good is deceptive and pernicious, and conflicts among the individuals and the group may arise in relation to the deployment of the means in order to arrive the particular aid. Modern societies with the plural economic cultural realms will demonstrate diverse understanding about common good. Citizens may not be aware about it, it may not be their interest, it may impact certain section in a direct ways. consequently will affect their economic basis as well. The Schumpeter's provides a different model that directs the modes of modern democratic capitalist state. Now, Schumpeter invited the classical theoretical take on power, which argues that those people who select their representative demonstrate their interests. Schumpeter structures the deciding of the issues by electorates as a secondary to the election of the representatives who are central deciding. The electoral process the power to decide which group of the leaders it likes to decide the decision making process. Schumpeter contrasts the power of the vote to that of the money in the market. Now, one of the very leading political theorists, Robert Dahl, analyzed that election hardly shows in the will of the majority. Election are, according to him, a crucial process for ensuring that political leaders will be somewhat responsive to the preferences of some ordinary citizen, unquote. And then further, Dahl deals with the power. According to Dahl, power plays a very significant role. Power still persists in the voters, and it will not express as a majority versus minority quote unquote will. On the contrary, there are relations between the voting representative issues as a voter's choice for the politicians stands on the particular issues. Now, political parties therefore intervene in multiple political demands. It leads to the stable government that operates between the demand and the supply. Both Schumpeter and Dahl analyze that individual operates via multiplicity of the groups. Dahl emphasizes that destruction and sharing of the power by different groups demonstrate their interests. It is done via the government results in the competitive equilibrium which helps citizens in gradual fashion. Citizens shows their control over leaders via regular elections and political contesting among group, individuals and parties. Now, citizens demonstrate their central control over the leaders via elections and political competitiveness among groups, parties, individuals. So, polyandry operates through the series of the minorities within the limits determined by the consensus. It does not allow anyone to dominate, but it provides space and bargaining power to everyone, and this understanding of the consciousness is quite contrary to Schumpeter's understanding of the democratic politics controlled by the dominant elites. Now, democracy is a safeguard through the competition among the groups. It provides space to rule by the multiple minority oppositions, and not only through the fruition of the sovereignty of the majority. Democracy thus is secured through the engagement of the multiple competing interest groups. Now, Marcus criticized democratic pluralist justification for advanced capitalism. He analyzed the manner in which welfare state addressed the question of the vulnerable section in spite of the class and societal division, and such an understanding is positioned within the Marxian reading of such society. Now, Mills analyzed the American pluralist approaches and demonstrated how the state is in the policy regime of the control of the elites, politicians, military and cooperative power structure. Policies are created in order to address their own issues, and Mill's approach is based on the three-level gradation of the distribution of power: the executive branch of the natural government, the large business corporates, and the military establishment controlling political power, means of the production, that respectively reinforcing. Therefore, it's very important that however, understanding of the military industrial complex are part of the major institutional hierarchies of the modern society. Mills analyzed that the pluralist model of the competing interests refers to the middle level interest groups and legislative policy. Mills criticized that pluralist has a fallacious understanding of middle level as the character of the capitalist state. So, politically broken people are at the lower level, and will explore the connection between the economic elite and the government elites, the corporate reach, the political electorate. Will analyze that centralization of the power is the federal executive branch of the government is structured by the declining role of the professional politicians and quote unquote political outsiders from the corporate world. Will declare that it is problematic to assert the political apparatus is merely an extension of the corporate world, or that it had been taken over by the representative of the corporate reach. So, Mill differentiate his take from that of what he is categorizing as a simple Marxian view that believes economic elite to be genuine holders of the power. Mill thus deployed the category power elites instead of the ruling class. For that, it connotes much emphasis on economic determination. Mill explained that his reading engages with the Marxist understanding. In addition to that, Mill also argues that political, military, economic elites are broadly autonomous in nature. They are mostly in conflict. They are not able to establish unity among them. Now, Miliband is one of the very leading scholar in which he argues that, therefore, that he offered a critique to Mill, and he said that fundamental understanding is relevant, what Mill is arguing, but hardly create any space for dialogue. So, it is observed that Robert Dahl's criticism rests on the lack of data. According to Dahl, a theory that do not have the potential to transfer into empirical evidence cannot claim. As a scientific theory, critics do not have to provide the burden of the proof. Theorist has to give a burden of the proof. For instance, the premises A is most powerful than B. It is out of context and does not have any meaning. Different functions of the two actors cannot be compared, and understanding of the political equalities is impractical in nature. If there is a lack of the political equality, does not mean the presence of the ruling elite. Now, Talcott Parsons had a different take on the data and empirical nuances, and he argued that Mill could not elaborate two political transformations such as nature of the industrial society and status of United States in the context of decline of the Western Europe, emergence of the Soviet Union and decolonized countries. These transformations determined the nature of the American power. It also resulted in the decline of the traditional political institution. Localism becomes central in non-political society. So, if you look at this debate, then one has to also look at the Jeffersonian position on the individual emphasis on the economic value of the production. It is further analyzed that Mills could not be grappled with the political realities and produce generalized understanding. Now, Parsons unfolded the unsettled nature of the American political leadership. Mill could not transcend the limits of his selective reading of the nuances of political transformation, and power has the legitimate nature in highly structured society. There are multiple dimensions to the power. It has to be safeguarded and controlled in a particular manner. It is analyzed that there is no understanding that Mill is a pre-liberal, anti-capitalist, pre-capitalist within the rubric of the Jeffersonian tradition. However, such causal way of looking at the identities could not evolve into a serious theoretical construction. Now, Swayze considers such analysis as a relevant and powerful position on American radicalism. However, he argued that Mills could not capture the boundaries and mechanism of the class mechanism. Swayze, like Miliband, were skeptical about the empirical rigor of that particular Mills work in the context of the United Nations. One has to also understand this debate in order to understand the advanced capitalist state. Gramsci analyzed that developed state functions with the help of ideological apparatus via repressive apparatus such as force and terror. State had two aspects such as coercive apparatus such as policy, judiciary, army that possesses the authority of the ruling class via force, and other institutions such as civil society, media, school, parties, clubs, trade unions, etc., that are part of the hegemony, the ways in which through ruling class gain connection to the parts of the society in relation to its rule. Hegemony gives space to the ruling groups to possess its power in its transition from the dominant class. According to Gramsci, capitalist class exercised the hegemony due to its pervasiveness of the societal elements within the advanced capitalism, thus emphasize on the impossibilities related radical political transformation. The democratic pluralist perspective justified the fair and practical dimensions of achieved capitalism. It emphasized on equality of opportunity within the advanced capitalism and ignored the question of the ruling class, power elite and class politics. It is argued that the fundamental political problem of the industrial and political citizenship have been solved. Conservatives have accepted the welfare state. The democratic left has recognized that an increase in overall state power carries with it more dangerous to freedom than solution to the economic problem. This is what Lipset argues about. So, classlessness ingrained in the advanced capitalism, ingrained in this theory, is a limited and cleavages are strengthened rather than withdrawing of the class system. Marxian analysis provide the nuanced understanding of the class analysis in the context of the welfare state. Miliband, in his work, The State in Capitalist Society, which I would call one of the path-breaking work, provides certain critique to the pluralist understanding by forging Marxian standpoint. Pluralists ignored the question related to the ruling class and the power elite. However, Miliband starts with his understanding on the ruling class and power elite. Private ownership and control are the part of the industrialized advanced capitalist countries. Identical nature of such countries, economic foundation is identical and it homogenizes the social structure of the class distribution. Minority section among the people monopolize the wealth through ownership. So therefore, in Marxian pluralism, it is the ruling class. It is argued that in addition to the achieved classlessness, the proletariat condition remains a hard and basic fact in these societies in the work process, in the levels of income, in opportunities or a lack of them, in the whole social definition of existence. A rich societal section also coexist with the marginalized selections, and managerial capitalism is not human and restructure class interests. At the external level, it sounds as a social but persistent for the private interest. So, social composition of the managerial class is similar to that of those who possesses the large chunk of the financial asset, and therefore education is essential to overcome such ingrained hurdles in the society. However, elite institutions reproduce such power mechanism and it impacts the social mobility of the working class student. It is observed, and I am giving this example of the student to make you understand, and therefore it is observed that genuinely believed in the virtue of the capitalism and have accepted it as far superior to any possible alternative economic and social system. Higher civil services is also monopolized by the elites. Large business houses are also connected with the military. Judges appointed are conservatives as well as. In turn, it changes into legitimate, illegitimate competition, and bourgeois political parties become superior to working class parties due to their monopoly over resources. Now, Miliband demonstrates that one of the key political aspects of the advanced capitalism is the continued existence in them of the private and ever more concerned economic power. As a result of that power, the owner, the controller, in whose hands it lies enjoy a massive proportionates in the society, in the political system, and in a different of the state policies and action. Unequal political distribution power therefore arises out of the unequal economic powers, and state policies and action operationalized within the capitalist background of the generalized inequality. One of the dominant understanding about these society is that state creates space for the democratic social order without any bias towards any section of the people. State, however, protects the dominant economic interest. Capitalists, according to Miliband, use the state as a mode of domination. Structuralists such as Althusser emphasize on the ideological and structural realms that facilitate the ruling class to strengthen its power through consent and force. And Polanyi's development, his ideas based on Althusser's fundamental ideas, in which Polanyi linked it to the mechanism of the reproduction of the capitalism. State erases the class division in addition to its maintenance of the political interest of the ruling class. Individualism and competition creeps into the social linkages, and class struggle thus vanishes in such condition. Conflicts and paradox are hidden in the competitive party system. As Miliband thinks, state is not an instrument of the dominant class. It is thus arrests the hegemony of the typical class such as dominant class. It is autonomous and stable in nature, and modes of the change are part of the capitalist state in the structural understanding. Marcus too focuses on the inequalities and irrational proclivities of the advanced capitalism. He argues that the impossibility of the escape from such system. People, irrespective of the class and status, approach such irrationalities. False consciousness strengthens the false consciousness, and it also provides legitimate dimension to the state. So let me sum up that the ways in which that I am trying to argue that these are the two different models in the capitalist state, and how it reaches to the advanced stages, in order to engage. What I am trying to argue is that the different takes and the position which the political scientists, political theorists, sociologists and other scholars who argued about the state. Thank you.